Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for this online workshop, the 7 steps to writing successful grant applications. Now, we are going to be going through these 7 steps. It is my proven process that I work through with my clients to write those successful grant applications. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn this important skill, to grow and expand your business or organization. And let's make a start. How many of you in the room today are small business owners? Pop up your hand if you are. Yes, there are a couple of you. Who is already too busy? Yes, a few more hands up. And who wears all the hats in your small business or organization? Is that you? Yes, another few hands that go up. So I'm one of them too. I'm a small business owner, and I know all too well that we are just way too busy. And when it comes to grant applications and grant programs, we just do not know what's required, and we're just not ready. But more often than not, most people are saying to me it's they just don't have the time, and it's just the last thing on their mind. The other thing with grant programs is that they always have a short application period. Sometimes as little as 4 weeks. So when we're already busy, that is not a great deal of time. So as I've already said, resources and time are already scarce and limited as small business owners, and we're already wearing way too many hats. But I want you to think about this. How much free money are you missing out on in grant opportunities? Now, this might be hard to answer because we don't know what we don't know. But that's why you're here today, because I'm going to show you how we can make the most of these opportunities and get some more funding into your business that you can grow and expand and thrive in your chosen field. I'm Liz, the Efficiency Coach. I'm a business coach and grant writer for small business. What I'm obsessed with is making sure your business has the best opportunity to be successful. You know how there's never enough hours in the day to get that grant application done, or it's something that just never gets done and it goes on the too hard basket because it just seems way too stressful when there's already too many things to do. Well, what I do is help you and your business to be ready when a grant program is released, so that you've got the right tools and information at your fingertips to be able to present your business in the best possible way. Now, I want to start with a bit of a geeky admission, but I do love writing grant applications. It is my thing. And I have had the pleasure of working in a couple of government agencies, overseeing some grants programs as the finance manager, and knowing the insides out of how they operate, how they work, what they're looking for has led me to doing this for a business, helping my clients to write those grant applications and be successful. I'm proud to say that I have an 85% success rate in writing grant applications, which is, for this year, it's actually 88%. And up until last week was 100%. So unfortunately, one didn't come off, but we've got another grant for them to apply for. So fingers crossed. And the reason why I have such a high success rate is that I will work with you to develop your project or idea to make sure that it has a strong footing for that grant program. So each grant program is very competitive. It has different guidelines and outcomes that they're trying to achieve. And we need to make sure that your project aligns with that as best it can. And so that's where we can work together to make sure it does and get that success and get that funding into your business. Now, hands up if anybody has had a grant not approved before. Has anyone applied for a grant and they haven't been successful? Yeah, there's a few of you. So that's what we want to look at today. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody is willing to say, well, not everyone gets the grants when we apply for them, let's be honest. And also when we get that unsuccessful email, we normally get no feedback. And last week, the one that came through, they had delayed the outcome announcement by 3 months. They were supposed to let us know in August. They let us know end of October. And then the the email that came out was talking, this was an entertainment and creative artist space grant. And they then talked about how people had been impacted by the floods. And it was just so frustrating that a government agency is allowed to do that. And that was their feedback. There was just no feedback, and it's not helpful for small businesses. So that's why we're here today. And I will take you through my proven process that I use with my clients. So once we've found the grants, how are we going to write them? And as I said, grant applications are my thing. So allow me to work within my zone of genius, and you can continue to work within yours and work on those other important areas of your business. And I do really like this quote because we don't know what we don't know, but there is nothing more expensive than a missed opportunity. So I'm all about finding people the grants, writing a really good application, and making sure that we're making the most of those opportunities. Because if you don't make an application, you can't be in to win, and then we definitely won't get any money or funding for our organisation. So let's make a start. It's my guarantee to you today that you'll have 7 clear steps to follow when writing grant applications. And this is the process that I use with my clients. Now, a few of you have got in touch before the online workshop today to say, how can they work with me? I will give you an opportunity later on in the workshop I will outline the ways that you can work with me. So just want to highlight that as well. So let's make a start. 7 steps to writing successful grant applications. Number 1, prepare to be successful. Now, success, think about what does that mean to you? This means different things to different people. And it also means that we need to be prepared and get organised for that great result. So when we're talking about grant applications, we need to make sure we gather all the information. When a grant program comes out, it'll come out with the guidelines, it'll come out with the objectives, it'll come out with the application forms, might come up with some templates, but we need to make sure we gather all of that information. I always print out the guidelines so that we can always have that as a reference point from the very beginning. Reading the criteria. Now, this is the most important factor when it comes to writing grant applications, and doing this early. So I've had people come to me wanting to write a grant application, and unfortunately they're just not eligible in the first place. So we need to be making sure that we're reading the eligibility criteria for the organisation and what you're doing, and also making sure that the project that you're aiming to apply with also fits the guidelines as well. At this point, we will draft our outline. What do we actually want to do? What is our project? What is our plan? And drafting that. And very early on, creating a Word document. So this is where I put down all the questions, making sure that we're looking at what is involved and how we're going to do it, and starting that Word document. The reason why it's in a Word document is because all or most of the grant application portals now are online, where you've got to log in, create a password, and submit it through that portal. They don't accept email, they don't accept sending it in the mail. And what we want to make sure is that we've got our information and our application, that we can copy and paste it into the portal at the time, rather than typing directly into the portal and having an IT issue and then losing all our work and then not being able to make the application. We absolutely do not want that. So that is the first step, getting organised to set us up for success and starting our preparation. Step 2 is planning our work plan. So we want to create a numbered checklist of all the components required. So every grant program is different. They ask for different things. They ask for different questions. They ask for different information. And we need to outline exactly what it is that we need and who we're going to get it from, or who's going to do it. Bringing a team together. So have you got internal staff? Are you going to work with outside people? Who is actually going to lead this grant application? And I like to think of grant applications as a whole process on its own, but think about how you apply for a job, putting in your resume, updating it, making sure that all the components are there, or doing an assignment for uni or for any study. So what is it we need to answer, and planning that out. Now, it doesn't have to be me, but making sure you find someone who has the skills and knowledge to be able to write these applications, properly and to be able to help you throughout the process. And someone just that knows what they're doing is quite a skill. There is a bit of an art to it, as I'm demonstrating to you today, but making sure you've got someone that has previous experience and has the skills to help you to write that application. And when we're thinking about it right from the start, knowing how many days or weeks have we got to write this application. The time will go quick. We're already busy. We're already trying to do a million things. So planning to submit it a couple of days before the deadline is always a good idea, building a bit of a buffer in, but also making sure that we're not trying to submit it in the portal at 11:50 when the cutoff is at 11:59 that night. So building that into the process can create a more streamlined and less stressful process in the first place. So that is step 2. Then we're creating the actual grant application as a project plan. So planning the grant application as a new project within your business and making sure that you're scheduling it as a priority to make sure it gets done. What do I mean? How is this project going to happen? So who is going to do what, and planning out what it is in your project that you need. So what are you going to spend money on? Are you going to buy equipment? Are you going to hire staff? Are you going to run this whole new program? Do you need to develop content? What do you need to do? Allocating tasks and actions to your team. What costs are involved? So because we're asking for funding, which means money, every time we make a grant application, they're going to ask for a budget. And this also goes back to the guidelines as well. Some grants will only ask for a certain portion of that project. So then the grant might only fund 50% of your project, or it might only fund up to a certain dollar amount. So it might be only $50,000. If you've got a project that when you do the budget, it's going to run into 100,000. You need to then work out how you're going to fund that extra, or whether you need to adjust your program plan to fit within the budget of the guidelines if you don't have any extra funds within your business. Next step is collating the supporting documents. Now, this changes for each grant application. I've seen grant applications for $20,000 where we've had to fill out 4 questions, up to 4 questions, submit it, no quotes, no nothing, and be successful in getting the $20,000. There's other times when I've applied for grants for clients for $25,000 and we've had to submit about a 30-page application just to get that money. So it does vary, and this is where the whole point of being ready before this grant program comes out is really, really important. So reading through what is required for grant applications. Now, just like any test or exam or assignment, we need to make sure that we're answering what they are asking and that we're answering the right question, not what we think they are asking. And again, making sure we're attaching the right documents when they're asking for things as well. I've seen some grant applications where they've said, you can answer these questions and then you can attach up to 8 extra documents and you can choose. Other ones are specifically for documents, and some will say, please do not give us any extra documents that we haven't asked for because we won't look at them and we won't review them. So we also want to make sure that we're not wasting our time. We're giving them what they're asking for and that we're answering it in the right way. Now, letters of support, this is a really great way to show that your project or your plan is going to have the desired impact and those outcomes that we need it to for the grant program. So these could be from other organizations that are going to benefit from whatever you are spending your money on. Could be other businesses that you're working with. It could be suppliers. Basically, the letter of support says, please approve this project because these are the outcomes that are going to happen, and we're really pleased to be part of this project. When you work with me, we actually draft those letters of support, send them off to the businesses or organizations and get them to put them on their letterhead and sign them, and then we've got them. Now, this is where it's also really important to be planning ahead. If you were to do this project, who are you going to be dealing with? Who is going to be part of it? And building those relationships so that when the grant does come out, you can get a really speedy response and they're part of it and they've had the heads up. Getting quotes. Now, 9 times out of 10 grant applications are asking for quotes. And if we don't have the right quotes, we won't be able to submit. So remember, more often than not, The quotes that you submit in the application don't necessarily have to be the supply that you have to go with if you're successful, but we do need to make sure that those quotes are realistic and are to the right amount of what we're trying to apply for. So again, having that pre-relationship with your suppliers so that you can either ask for a quote before the grant comes out when you're doing your planning, or that they understand the importance of getting that quote done really quickly and that they've got the right information. Some suppliers, again, they're small business owners as well, so they're really busy. Some suppliers need 2 days to do a quote. So, they need that time, and we also need it for our application. As I say, you can't submit a grant application if they've asked for quotes and we haven't attached anything. You won't be able to go forward in pressing submit, which is a real shame, because if you've done all this other work and you can't get the quotes, it's just a waste of time. Financial reports. It's really important to have your financial reports up to date. This is for a couple of reasons. So here in Australia, if you get grants normally more than $50,000, they will ask for the last 3 years of financial statements, and they expect them to be up to date. The other reason why you want financial reports to be up to date with the finance system is so that if you do have to fund the difference between what your project is going to cost and what the grant available money is, then you need to work out how are we going to get that money. Do we need to generate some more revenue? Can we go and draw down on a bank loan? Where are we going to get those funds from? Oh, we've got it sitting in our bank. So if you don't have financial reports up to date, that's really, really hard to determine. And this is the point where we just get shit done. We collate all of this stuff related to our project so that we are ready to go. We know what it's going to cost. We know who's in support of us. We know that it aligns with the program guidelines. Because remember, grant programs are always really competitive. More often than not, there's always way more applicants than what there is total available funding. So we need to make sure that we are absolutely watertight in our application and making sure that we have got as much information as we possibly can to be able to submit for our grant application. Now, the next step is where we actually start writing that draft application. And yes, in the previous steps, when you're drafting your Word document and you've got all the questions and everything laid out there, it's a bit of filling in the gaps. You can definitely draft some ideas or half answer them. But what I do when I'm working with my clients, I get them to collate the quotes, the letters of support, all of that stuff first, and then allow about at least a week to start writing that application. So what it means is I can write it in an efficient way. I can write it in one go, and I'm basing it on the information that we've collated in that supporting documents. So obviously this is the most important step, but you can also see that there is a whole lot of work done prior to this before we even start writing. So this allows me to focus on your project and your grant application. And when I do this part for you, writing it for you, this is where we might have a couple of sessions together as well, where I'm extracting that information from you and being able to write it in a way that will make it successful. How do I do that? So again, we're going back to those guidelines. We're going back to that key criteria of what we need to address. We need to look at the assessment weighting. So obviously, like an exam, like a test, they're all being marked. And when it's a competitive process, those weightings are really, really important. So they might say these 4 questions are worth 25% each, and making sure that we answer accordingly. One thing we do need to be really, really careful of is checking that word and character limits. And I know more often than not now they do have them in there because they know they don't want screeds and screeds of words and information that just becomes irrelevant. So I think that some grant programs have gone the other way, where they're asking for a whole lot of information and the question's quite long, and then it'll say on it, oh, but you can only use 100 words. So the skill is being able to brainstorm the main points that you want to get across, and then working together to go, right, how are we going to write that back to just 100 words within the character or word limits. And again, be very careful. We can check the word count in our Word document, so that makes it really easy. And then when we're copying and pasting across to the portal, if they're getting really smart now, Word will say 100 word limit. If you copy across 120 words, it will chop it off at the 100-word limit, and it'll chop it off mid-sentence. I've seen that before. So when we're writing our Word document with right back at the start with our questions on it, I always put in the brackets the word or character limits. So I know that as a guide. Doesn't mean that I'm always going to, when I'm brainstorming and up until this point, but I know, okay, I can't write much in there, and I need to make sure the key points are really captured within that word limit, because it's so, so important. The next step is adding your why and adding your story. So this is your chance to then go, okay, why are we doing this project? Why is it so important for our organization? What are going to be the benefits, and how is this going to improve society? And this is being able to put this into your application. Remember, grant programs are normally presented or funded by government agencies that basically they're saying, hey, we're not going to do all this work ourselves. We're going to give funds to other organizations who already do a really good job and let them see what they can come up with, execute their ideas, and get the same desired outcome. So remembering that those grant programs and those government agencies, they want a return on investment. So this becomes really, really important. Why should they fund your project over the next person? And the problem is we don't know who else has applied. So this can be tricky, but this is where we need to be writing in a persuasive way. We need to be really factual and using really simple information and simple language. And remember that the grant panelists, the people that are assessing and the ones that are going to say yay or nay to the funding, know nothing about you and nothing about your project. So we need to write it in such a way that they completely, by the end of reading our application, they do understand what we are all about and why they should fund it, and it should be part of their plan. They also want to have that opportunity to be able to say, hey, we were part of that project, even though they didn't do anything apart from giving us money. But they'll take it as their opportunity to do some media as well and things like that. So this is really, really important, including why is your project the best with the most impact. So going back to the guidelines, what are they trying to achieve from this grant program? What does our project achieve, and putting that best step forward. Making sure we include the benefits to the targeted audiences. I've seen grant applications that I've reviewed where their project fits the guidelines in terms of the project, but it actually benefits a different part or a different audience that's not relevant and may be excluded from this grant program. So again, it comes back to step one, understanding the guidelines and that eligibility and making sure that we tick all those boxes well and truly right at the beginning. So that brings us to step 7, the final step. Now, I always get someone else to review and read the application. So if I'm working with clients, I'll quite often send them that Word document, get them to review that final draft, making sure it's factually correct, making sure that I haven't got anything wrong, making sure that they're agreeing to what we are saying in terms of what we say we'll do and what we're committing to. At the end of the day, that application has that organization's name on it. I'm just the middleman writing it. So, so important that they review it. But also, if you're writing it for your own organization, remembering that you know your business or organization inside out. So getting someone that doesn't know it quite as well, or getting it even someone that knows nothing about it or nothing about the project to read it, doesn't make sense. Can they understand it? What are the main points they're trying to get across, and have you done it right? And also making sure that you're checking all your grammar, checking those word limit checks and all that kind of stuff as well. Because then we're going to copy and paste it into the portal. And again, some clients will check it at that point. They then are happy to submit it, or they'll say, oh, no, we're happy to check it and check the supporting documents and that all that information is in there, but then they want me to submit it, press submit. So it's nerve-wracking for me, even though I've done it many, many times, because you only get one chance. So once that's submitted, you don't normally get an opportunity to resubmit anything or change anything. So this is why the review process is very, very important. And it can be the difference between getting money and not getting money, and making sure that we have done everything that we needed to do to submit it properly. And it's also important to celebrate. So writing a grant application, especially when you're doing it for the first time, can be a very tiring, stressful, a massive piece of work. So it's important to celebrate that milestone of submitting the grant application and reflecting on that process. What came out of it? What did you learn about your business? What did you not know? What were some things you really, really had to think about? Because some of the questions can be quite curly, and they're just questions that we may never, ever have even considered when we're in our day-to-day business. So that is really, really important, especially if you've got a team, a few of you are involved. It's really important to recognize and celebrate the submission in its entirety, and making sure that it's an enjoyable process. So thank you. Here is the 7 steps. So what I want you to do now is think about what's your biggest takeaway? From what I've just shared with you now, you can pop into the chat. What's your biggest takeaway from today? What surprised you? What did you learn? What was the key point that was really interesting? If you can pop into the chat your biggest takeaway, and if you have any questions, pop them into the chat as well. Just put a Q at the start so I can see the questions differentiated from the comments. But yeah, I'd love to see your comments in the chat, what your biggest takeaway was from today. So the 7 steps, there they are there in summary. So some people are saying, yes, step 5 is you start writing at step 5, and that always surprises a lot of people. So they can't believe how much is involved in getting prepared, getting ready, what we need to be doing before we start writing. And yes, someone else is saying, just start writing. They normally just start writing and then they hit a bit of a roadblock. And I've seen that before. I've seen that where people haven't read the guidelines properly. They haven't done their checklist. They've missed off a document. They've missed off a quote. They haven't given them enough time to do it. Letters of support haven't come back because they didn't have those relationships and things like that. Someone else is saying, oh, thank you, Stu, coming through. Didn't realize grants had a word limit, and making sure I review my grants to be more concise. Yes, so more often than not nowadays, they do have that word limit, and it's really, really important. Some don't, and then I think sometimes when they don't have a word limit, it actually makes it harder because you don't know how much information they're asking for. I've had clients when we've gone through the process of writing grant applications, and I'm going through the questions with them to get their responses. In the first instance, and I'm like, oh, what would you normally write here? And, the word limit was sort of 500 words, I think, for that one. And they're like, oh, I normally just write a sentence. And, now they know and wonder why they hadn't been successful in grants up until that point. Collation and organization before starting the writing process, keep it flowing properly. I've been stuck with roadblocks by starting and running out of information, 100%. And that whole plan, and I think that Word document with the base application form. So more often than not, when the grant program is released, they have the guidelines as a PDF, and then they'll have a sample or a blank application form. And if they don't, what I also recommend that you do is log in, create your password and log in for the portal and have a look at it, because normally you can either screen print it or screenshot it, or you can download a PDF of the blank application form. They're the first things that I do when we find a grant that we're going to apply for, and I look at both of them. I'm looking at them to see how much work is involved and what timeframes we have and whether it's going to work or not, and then also be able to work out my fee for writing it as well. Letters of support, yes, that is a real key thing that sometimes they will ask specifically for them and sometimes they won't. My golden rule is that you have to, if you're writing grants with me, you have to have letters of support. We always attach them because it's just showing that outside support. It's not just showing that, oh, we just want to do this project and it's only going to benefit our organization and we want free money. It's actually showing this has got a wider impact on our community, on our society, on our industry, on different businesses. And, if we're growing, other businesses are growing. If we can demonstrate through a letter of support, then that gets a big tick when it comes to the assessors and the government agency as well. So thank you for sharing those takeaways. I think, it's great that people are learning different things, and, if you can add that into your repertoire of skills when it comes to grant writing, that's what we're here for today. So if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat and I will answer them soon. So here are some businesses that I've helped with successful grant applications. As you can see, they are a variety of different businesses. I've written grants for equipment. I've written grants for ag stuff. I've written grants for recycling trailers, education programs, for cash funding, some COVID ones that required a few calculations. I've helped people write grant applications to hire staff and more employees. And there's a whole array of grants out there that we can be applying for. So if I can ask you this, what is the difference between these businesses receiving grants and your business? And the answer is probably nothing. They just knew where to find the grants, and that, well, they were working with me, and then we wrote the grants together. So one of my clients saying, Chris got a $25,000 grant for a cool room at his farm shop. So he grew the pigs and the beef on his farm. He then got his meat produced at the butcher and then sold it at markets and the farm shop. So by having a cool room in his farm shop meant that it was like walking into a flash shop with the doors on the cool room. And it also meant that he didn't have to do as many trips to the butcher to go and pick up the meat on a weekly basis as well. Ben and Jesse got $27,000 worth of grants, and I absolutely love their story. Clients of mine, they turned their side hustle into a full-time business through a grant, and this was something that they always dreamt of, and they were able to achieve that much earlier with the grant than what they would have otherwise. And I've got heaps of examples of businesses that have absolutely transformed their businesses, and by utilizing the grants that were out there, and growing and growing and growing. Recently, 3 clients got bespoke pieces of equipment for their business. One will allow them to 5x their production for their business, and the other 2, they will create efficiencies. One will create efficiencies through safety, meaning that not just the owner has to operate the piece of equipment. Now that they've got a newer piece of equipment that's tailor-made and purposefully built, then they can hire staff to do that task, and the owner can go and work on other things in the business. So you can see how grants can benefit businesses in so many different ways. So now I'm going to show you how I can help you and your business to grow and expand with business grants. So here in Australia, at the moment, recently, there's been so many grants out there. So we've had COVID grants where, yes, they've just asked for your business name and ABN number and they've given you money. Now we're out of that, and now we do need to invest some time and effort into preparing those grant applications so that we can get the return of the funds. So City of Ballarat has a number of grants available for community impact, tourism events, strategic partnership grants, and then there's Events Tasmania. So, the government is trying to stimulate the economy. They're trying to get people out there. They're trying to allow businesses to do things a little bit risky that they might not have otherwise done, but with the help of a grant to sort of cover some of those costs, then it becomes a win-win for everybody. This one in the middle here from Business Victoria, Small Business Specialist Advice Pathways Program. That was a bit of a mouthful. This one, I had a number of clients apply for this. This one closed 5 days after it was opened due to the high demand of applications. So again, it's important that we are in the know of where to find grants, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit later. There's also some privately funded grants as well from private organisations. There's the Frankie Good Stuff Awards. There's the Brisbane Women's Club. They have scholarships every year as well. Majority are government agencies. So we've got some national Indigenous Australian agencies grants. There's a 1,000 jobs package available at the moment, and you can see there, they're offering up to $60,000 in some cases. In New South Wales, there's a $1,000 Safe Work small business rebate. So for that one, you had to watch a webinar, and then you were able to spend that, if you were successful, spend that $1,000 on some safety gear for your organisation. Wage subsidies for up to $10,000. Obviously, there's eligibility criteria and depends on who you're hiring, but those subsidies are available. Business Victoria have some high growth business grants available as well. And then there's other ones with the small business ventilation program that was covering $500 for businesses to buy air purifiers and improve the air quality in their offices as well. So from there, you can see there is a massive variety of grants available at any one time, and you will see from the some of the grants directories, they'll say, oh, there's 1,500 grants available right now. Well, yes, there are, but that doesn't mean to say that you're eligible for every single one. So that's where we need to know how we can get them. So what is next? What is it that I do, and how do we best utilise this hidden economy of grants, especially here in Australia? So I've created my Grants Club VIP membership. Now, this is where you come into the membership, you be part of my exclusive group where we look for grants for you. So if you're a time-poor business, don't know anything about grants, don't know where to look, have a million other things going on, this is perfect for you. So what is it? We do all the hard work and search for those grants for you. We then match you with those grants to grow and expand your business. And then we also, as we are here today, sharing our proven process on how to write grant applications. We provide you with special discounts to get your grant applications written by me. So when we match you with the grants, we'll send you an email and say, hey, we've found this grant, let's have a chat to see what you want to do next. Then you can decide whether you're going to apply for it, whether we're going to help you to write it for you, whether you're going to have a go at writing it yourself, and we can work with you to get that done. We also have programs and can work with you to get grant ready. So if you don't have a business plan, we can help you write one. If you don't know what your projects and what your growth plan looks like within your business, we can develop that so that you are ready for when grant programs come out. Now, the thing with grant programs, I never know when they are going to come out. Just because they came out last year doesn't mean they're going to come out again this year. And also, even when they do come out, we don't necessarily know how much money or funding is available. Within the Grants Club, there's also a 12-month calendar. We will be doing quarterly masterclasses, and there's one coming up at the end of November that are all free of charge. And other signature programs, I've got some really cool plans for 2023 that will be exclusively offered to members, all in the notion of getting ready for grants, growing your business, and becoming more strategic. There's a private Facebook group for learning and asking questions, and to be in an environment with other like-minded growth mindset businesses. And to get you started, there will be a personalized strategy call. I've got 2 of these this afternoon for new members, where once they've filled out the membership form, we're going through that and working out how can we be strategic in planning their business and what kind of grants we can be looking for to grow their business together. So what's included? The 12-month membership, one-on-one strategy call, the private Facebook group, access to VIP resources that we are creating, quarterly masterclasses that are open to the public, but also included in the membership. That's a total value of more than $5,000. So really proud of this membership. I'm so excited for the businesses that are already signed up, and I'd love for you to be part of this as well. But today it is only $16.50, which equates to $30 a week for the 12 months. So that is the price of 1 hour of a staff member a week. So if you haven't got anyone in your business that is looking for grants, then what we're saying is sign up to this membership and we will do all of it for you. And then you've got access to us to learn more about grants and how they can grow your business or organization. And for though, I've even got a cash flow option there as well, 4 monthly payments of $4.97 as well. So Erica is going to put that link into the chat right now. You can have a look at that as well, or go to my website The Efficiency Coach, and all the information is there. I'll just type this in. If someone can just click on that link and tell me that it's working, that would be great. And the best thing about the membership is that I offer a money back guarantee. I'm so confident that I will be able to match you with grants within that 12-month time period, that if I don't and we can't match you with grants, you will get your membership back. So you will get the $1,650 back at the end of the 12 months if we haven't been able to match you with grants while you're a member. So that is, makes it no risk to you, and yet you can learn and be part of the VIP Grants Club membership and learn all about grants and how they can benefit and grow your business. So how does that sound, everybody? Who thinks they could benefit from being in the Grants Club membership? Or if you've got clients that could also benefit from this as well. So as I say, this is a brand new program. It's only been running for a few months. I've already had success in finding grants for members. And what I'm also finding is that when we are looking specifically for grants, we're looking in the right places and we are finding them. So can someone just check that link and see if it's working? That would be most helpful. Erica, I don't know where she's gone. But the money back guarantee is something that I, again, really proud of. I don't have a crystal ball. So, but I'm taking all the risk here. As I say, we are confident, and to date we have matched nearly all the members with grants in the first month that they've joined. Cool, thank you, Joanne. If you aren't sure whether the membership's right for you, then you can book in a chat with me for this afternoon. What I will do is I'll just get you to stay on the line when we finish, and then we can find a time that works for both of us to have a chat about that. We do have the masterclass coming up later this month, Friday 25th of November. The link is in the chat there to have a look at that. The great thing about that is included in the membership if you do sign up and become a member, and also you can bring up to two people from each organization. So I'm really passionate about people learning together and helping each other, and giving people the skills and knowledge to be able to write grants themselves if they want to, or learn about it, and then also be able to write it for them as well. I've got some people in the membership that are like, no, you write it for me, and other people are like, oh no, you find the grant and I can have a go at writing it myself. So that's absolutely fine. Depends whether you want it done for you or with you, but you can also learn the skills and have the understanding as well. So that is Friday the 25th of November. The link is in the chat for that as well, but that is included absolutely free of charge if you join the membership. So that's a pretty good inclusion. I do have a couple of quick questions that come up quite frequently, and there's a couple in the chat that I will go back to as well. Can you help me with writing grants? Absolutely, we can help you write them. We can completely do it for you. We can do it with you, and I do offer a review process as well, where you write it, we check it, you write some more, we check it, and help you, guide you through that process as well. I don't have a business plan. Can you write one for me? Yes, we can absolutely write business plans. Some grant programs do require you to submit a business plan with your application, so it's important to have that ready. What's my success rate? As I said before, 85% to date and 88% this year, so very, very proud of that. But that is where, I'm very honest and upfront about your project plan and your grant. How do I know what I need a grant for? Well, this is part of the work that we do together as well. So on that first strategy call in the membership, we work out what are some ways that we can grow our business and what do we need funding for. And also looking at where can we, what areas are there, and also knowing what grants are out there or have been up in the past as well. There were a couple of other questions that I will just answer now. is there a particular place to find grants suitable for different groups? So there are the grant directories that you can either subscribe to or get an email notification from, and you can do your searches through that. The thing with that, if you subscribe and something you pay for and some of them free, so Business Victoria, Business Australia, Grants Hub is a paid one. They don't send you tailored grants though. They only send you an email with a whole lot of grants, and you've still got to scroll through them and work out whether you are eligible or not. So that's a good starting point. But that's what's time consuming, and that's what we do in the membership for you if you were to join. So they're my best piece of advice for that. Just check if there's any other questions. They're the main questions. The other question I get quite often is, I'm starting a business, are there any grants? And the short answer is no. Remember, grant programs are funding by government. They want a return on investment. And as a starting point, as a startup, they're just too risky to be giving funds to. If you're a startup with an idea, there are other programs, incubator programs, it might be 12 weeks. So you're paying with your time rather than actual dollars and funds. That's a good starting point for those as well. So I do also have my free Facebook group for people that have, come to these workshops, have learned, want to know more, and the efficient business community is where you can be part of a group with like-minded business owners, and I will share my tips and some tricks and some information in there as well. So you can click on your QR code, or the link is in the chat to join that as well. So I'd love to see you in there. So today, remember the membership link is there as well. Let's get started. I'd love to work with all of you. I believe that every business can utilize grants to grow their business, and we can create strategies and business plans to work out how to do that. As I mentioned earlier, nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. So thank you for joining us today. Here are my contact details. Please follow me on Facebook and Insta. Happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn, Liz Fleming, and we do have a YouTube channel where the recordings of these go, so you can share them with your friends and other business owners that need to know about grants as well. So thank you for joining us, and have a great day.